The festival begins on Good Friday and culminates when Christians believe Jesus rose from the dead 3 days after being crucified. Itseme Ozekome, AIT News.
Still talking Esther, we're now being joined live in the studio by Reverend Udochi Odikanwa, the General Overseer of Restoration City Life Assembly. Welcome to the AIT
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, you're
God bless
welcome.
you.
Aside the message of peace and unity, which we hear every Easter, what is different and unique about this year's Easter?
Yeah, thank you very much. If you talk about Easter, you are talking about the foundation of Christianity. And there wouldn't have been Christianity if Jesus had not died. And so we are also talking about the symbolism of this year's Easter. Is very symbolic because we have gotten a season of time where in Nigeria, human life has lost its value. And most of our leaders have become lamentators instead of implementers of so many things that should make sure that the security of the citizens are taken into cognizance, right? Cognizance. And so we are having in some parts of the country where people are being killed. I know the government is doing a lot about this, but I want us to know that this year's Easter is very symbolic because we need to know that Jesus came to provide solution. He came to bring succor. He came to bring peace. He came to bring social cohesion. And he came to make sure that peace, restoration, and love will reign. But coming to this year's Easter, we are seeing things not working that way, more especially within this season of time. But we believe God that these things will come and also pass. And so this year is very symbolic because God is about doing a new thing in this nation, more especially in the angle of security and the rebirth of the nation.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the Imam who came in at the end of Ramadan. And I think it's probably further buttresses the point that Binta's trying to put across. Now, year in, year out, we keep hearing calls for peace, security, unity, all these nice adjectives coming from both government and even from you clergymen. It seems that people aren't even listening to your messages either.
A lot are listening to them. And, when Jesus was on earth, there are people who didn't listen to his messages. Even up to now, there are still people who don't believe in Jesus, despite of him being crucified. He died for every one of us. And still there are people who still believe that he is not their Messiah. So the clergies are preaching, everyone is speaking. And I'm telling you, without the preaching and without the religious body, more especially the Church of God, this nation could have been worse than Somalia. A lot of things, a lot of social issues could have taken place in Nigeria, more especially. And so there are so many people listening, while there are some minute that are not listening, and these are the ones that the enemy is using to cause mayhem in the nation. That are slaughtering human beings, kidnapping, going into political thuggery, and trying to cause trouble in the political, space of the nation. But I know that the power of Jesus is greater than all powers. And that's why he has died, and today he rose. So he's not in the grave. Because he lives, this country will survive. And we will come out from this social quagmire in no distant time.
You spoke about some people who have still not yielded to the fact that Jesus is real and then trying to bring about unity, ending insecurity. How does the church intend to use its church and then clergymen intend to help preach the message differently so that people can get the message of peace and unity?
In sociology, there is what we call, because that's my first degree in the university, we call it neo-colonialism. It kind of a way, if you want to colonize a particular place, you use an indirect means to try to get to the people. The clergy has been doing a lot, both from the pulpit and taking the message to the society, to the news and crannies of every part of the society through education and through social amenities, and making sure that the church is actively involved in so many social responsibilities and active participation. You can see right now that some pastors are becoming governors, and some pastors are also into so many things. You can see pastors that are scientists. You can see, gone are the days you see pastors that are illiterates. You have pastors right now that are into so many fields. And through those means, they are reaching out to the people, not only from the pulpit. For instance, I have my doctorate degree in educational psychology. And most times I try to make sure that through education, the message is passed to the people. Not just the Bible, but you use education to try to get to them. And so these are some of the things we are putting in place. So many churches are doing that, and it's really getting to the nooks and crannies of the society, to the cradle of the society. They are already getting the message, and people are actually changing in this nation. As I said, even during the time of Jesus, he didn't solve every problem, and that was why he left some for us to continue to solve. Problems will never stop until Jesus returns. I will not do it alone. You will not do it alone. No president can even solve the whole problem of the nation. But what we are saying, do your bit. Jesus came and he saw and he conquered. He brought solution. So who is the leader that is bringing solution to this nation today? And I want to tell all the leaders before I hand over to say, you have come. Every dispensation will come and pass. But you must do your bit so that you will be remembered and celebrated like Jesus.
I want to thank
All
you.
right.
So
How did you know you were about to hand over? You're a psychologist.
I've just read your official
You read my
countenance.
countenance. All right. We've been speaking with Reverend Udochi Odikanwa. He's a doctor of theology. If I was tempted, I wasn't sure whether to call you doctor or reverend. I was thinking reverend would have been nice since today's Easter.
Anyone goes.
Anyone goes.
Right.
All right. Anyway, many thanks for coming on the news, providing us with some pretty useful insights.
Thank you so much for having me.